They say timing is everything. But what they don't tell you is that sometimes timing is the cruelest joke the universe can play. I know this because 9 years ago, I watched the love of my life walk away at Terminal B of O'Hare International Airport. I stood there, 22 years old, with tears streaming down my face, as he boarded a plane to London without looking back. What makes it worse? I was the one who told him to go. And now, after nearly a decade of silence, after building a life I thought I wanted, after convincing myself I was over him, Liam Carter is walking through the door of my bookstore in downtown Chicago, looking like every dream I've tried to forget. The universe, it seems, has a wicked sense of humor. The bell above the door chimes, a cheerful sound that doesn't match the sudden hollowness in my chest. I don't need to look up to know it's him. 9 years, and my body still recognizes his presence like it's been waiting all this time. I keep my eyes fixed on the inventory spreadsheet open on my laptop, pretending I haven't noticed the customer who just walked in. My fingers hover over the keyboard, suddenly forgetting what numbers I was about to type. Claire? His voice, deeper now, but still unmistakably his. I look up slowly, carefully arranging my features into what I hope is a neutral expression. The polite bookstore owner face I've perfected over the 4 years I've owned Turning Pages, my little independent bookstore nestled between a coffee shop and a vintage record store. Liam Carter stands before me, more handsome than he has any right to be. The boy I loved has become a man with broader shoulders, a stronger jaw, and eyes that still remind me of a stormy ocean. But there's something different about those eyes now, something I can't quite read. Liam, I say, proud that my voice doesn't betray me, doesn't crack or whisper or scream. He shifts his weight, looking almost nervous. Liam Carter, nervous. That's new. The boy I knew was always so sure of himself, so confident in his place in the world. I wasn't sure you'd still be in Chicago, he says, but your mom mentioned you owned a bookstore now, and I took a chance. Of course, my mother, the woman who never approved of my relationship with Liam, but who apparently had no problem telling him where to find me. You saw my mother? I ask, the question sharper than intended. He nods. I stopped by your parents' house first. I thought you might still be living there, or at least that they'd know where to find you. He glances around the store. This place is amazing, Claire. It suits you. Thank you, I say, the words stiff and formal, as if we're acquaintances, as if he didn't once know every inch of my body, every corner of my heart. A customer approaches the counter with a stack of books, saving me from having to say more. I ring up her purchases, make small talk about the weather, recommend a new release she might enjoy, all while acutely aware of Liam browsing the fiction section, picking up books and reading their back covers, as if he has all the time in the world, as if he hasn't just upended mine. When the customer leaves, Liam approaches the counter again, a copy of The Road by Cormac McCarthy in his hands, still reading the depressing stuff. I see, I say, taking the book from him. Our fingers brush, and I ignore the jolt that runs through me. Some things don't change, he says with a small smile. Then, more seriously, but some things do. I scan the barcode, not meeting his eyes. $16.99, I say. He hands me a 20. Keep the change. We don't work on tips here, I say, counting out his change precisely. 3 ones and a penny, which I place in his palm. His fingers curl around the money, and around my hand, just for a moment, just long enough to make my heart stutter. Claire, he says, his voice low, I'm back in Chicago, for good. The words hit her like a physical blow. For good. Not visiting. Not passing through. For good. Congratulations, I say, pulling my hand away. London didn't work out. A flash of something, pain, regret crosses his face. It did, actually, too well. I was offered a permanent position at the architectural firm, partner track, and you turned it down. I can't keep the disbelief from my voice. This was his dream, the opportunity that took him away from me, from us. I did, he confirms. Some things are more important than career advancement. I don't know what to say to that. Don't know what he expects me to say. I'd like to catch up, he continues when I remain silent. Maybe over coffee or dinner. I don't think that's a good idea, I say, the words coming out automatically, self-preservation kicking it. Just as friends, he clarifies quickly. I've missed you, Claire, and I'd like to hear about your life. How you ended up owning this amazing bookstore. What happened after I left? What happened after he left? As if I could summarize 9 years of rebuilding myself in a coffee date. As if I could explain how I learned to breathe again without him. How I redirected all the love I had for him into this store. Into building something that was mine alone. I'm busy, I say. The store keeps me occupied 7 days a week. You must take lunch breaks, he persists. Or have dinner occasionally. The bell above the door chimes again, and I look up, grateful for the interruption. But my relief quickly turns to panic when I see who it is. Michael, my fiancé. He walks in with his usual confident stride, all 6'2" of him radiating the assurance that comes from a lifetime of things going his way. His blonde hair is perfectly styled, his suit impeccably tailored. He's carrying a paper bag that I know contains lunch from my favorite deli. Surprise, babe, he says, approaching the counter with a smile. Thought I'd bring lunch since you mentioned being too busy to get out today. His eyes flick to Liam, curious but not concerned. Just another customer, as far as he knows. Michael, I say, my voice unnaturally high. Thank you. That's so thoughtful. I make no move to introduce them, hoping Liam will take the hint and leave. But of course, he doesn't. Hi, he says instead, extending his hand to Michael. I'm Liam Carter, an old friend of Claire's. Michael shifts the lunch bag to his left hand and shakes Liam's with his right. Michael Donovan, Claire's fiancé. The word hangs in the air between us. Fiancé. I watch Liam's face, see the slight widening of his eyes, the almost imperceptible tightening of his jaw. Then his expression smooths out, back to polite interest. And congratulations, he says. And I can't tell if he means it. When's the wedding? May 15th, Michael answers, placing the lunch bag on the counter and sliding an arm around my waist. Just 3 months away now. Spring wedding, Liam comments. Claire always did love spring. The fact that he remembers this small detail about me, that May is my favorite month, that I love the cherry blossoms, and the way the whole city seems to come alive after winter, makes something twist painfully in my chest. Liam says, tucking his new book under his arm. I should let you enjoy your lunch. It was nice meeting you, Michael. His eyes find mine. Good seeing you, Claire. Maybe I'll stop by again sometime. And then he's gone, the bell chiming cheerfully in his wake, as if nothing momentous has just occurred, as if my past and present haven't just collided in the most unexpected way. Who was that? Michael asks, unpacking our lunch on the counter. Pastrami on rye for him, turkey and avocado on sourdough for me, the same order we always get. Just someone I knew in college, I say. The understatement of the century. We lost touch when he moved to London. Michael nods, already moving on to telling me about his morning at the law firm. He doesn't notice that my hands are shaking, doesn't see the way I keep glancing at the door, doesn't feel the way my heart is racing.
as if it's trying to break free from my chest and follow Liam down the street. Liam is back in Chicago, for good, and suddenly, the life I've so carefully constructed feels like it's built on shifting sand.
Michael leaves after lunch, kissing me goodbye, and promising to call later about dinner plans with his parents this weekend. I go through the motions of the afternoon, helping customers, ordering new inventory, arranging a display for an upcoming author event, but my mind is elsewhere, with Liam, with the past, with memories I've kept locked away for 9 years. We met our sophomore year of college at Northwestern. He was studying architecture. I was majoring in English literature. We quite literally bumped into each other at the library, my stack of books scattering across the floor. He helped me pick them up, made a joke about me trying to read the entire Russian literature section in one weekend, and asked me to coffee to discuss Dostoevsky. One coffee date turned into 2, then 3, then weekend study sessions, then late-night conversations about everything and nothing. By Christmas break, we were inseparable. By spring, we were in love. The kind of all-consuming, passionate love that only seems possible when you're young and believe the world is designed to bring you happiness. We had 2 perfect years together. 2 years of building dreams, making plans, imagining a future where we'd both get what we wanted. Him designing buildings that would change skylines, me teaching literature and writing the great American novel in my spare time. We'd live in a loft downtown, travel during summers, maybe get a dog, eventually, children. It all seemed so certain, so inevitable, until his final semester, when he was offered an internship at a prestigious architectural firm in London. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, everyone said, a foot in the door that could launch his career. It was supposed to be for 6 months, just 6 months, and then he'd come back to me. But 6 months turned into a year when they offered to extend his internship, and then another 6 months when they dangled the possibility of a permanent position. And with each extension, our phone calls grew shorter, our video chats less frequent, the distance between us expanding beyond just physical miles. I was still in Chicago, working on my master's degree, waiting for my life, our life to begin. He was in London, already living his. The last time I saw him was during his brief visit home for Christmas, nearly 9 years ago. We had 3 precious days together before he had to fly back. 3 days that felt like borrowed time, and at the airport, when he asked me to wait just a little longer, promised that soon we'd be together, I made the hardest decision of my life. I let him go. Not just back to London, but completely. I ended things, told him we were holding each other back, that the timing was wrong, that maybe someday, when our lives aligned again, we could find our way back to each other. But for now, we needed to be free. He argued, pleaded, promised things would change, but in the end, he boarded that plane, and I watched him walk away, taking my heart with him. We tried to stay in touch at first, emails, occasional phone calls, but it was too painful, too much like picking at a wound that wouldn't heal. Eventually, the communication stopped altogether. I heard through mutual friends that he was doing well, that the firm loved him, that he was dating someone British. I forced myself to be happy for him, to believe I'd made the right choice. And I moved on, or at least, I convinced myself I had. I finished my degree, worked at a publishing house for a few years, saved every penny until I could buy this bookstore when the previous owner retired. I built a life that was mine, that didn't have Liam-shaped holes in it. And then I met Michael, stable, dependable Michael.
a corporate attorney who wandered into my store looking for a book to read on a business trip. He asked me to dinner, and I said yes, because it had been so long since I'd said yes to anything that might lead to happiness. We've been together for 2 years. He proposed 6 months ago, with a princess-cut diamond and a speech about building a life together. I said yes, because it made sense, because he's kind and successful, and loves me in his way, because I thought I'd finally outgrown the girl who believed in all-consuming love. And now Liam is back. The bell above the door chimes, pulling me from my thoughts. For a heart-stopping moment, I think it might be him again, but it's just Mrs. Peterson, one of my regular customers, coming in for her weekly mystery novel. "Claire, dear," she says, approaching the counter, "you look like you've seen a ghost." I force a smile. "Just tired, Mrs. Peterson. Long day." "Well, I know just the cure for that," she says, patting my hand. "A good book and a cup of tea works every time. If only it were that simple. If only I could turn the page on Liam Carter as easily as I can on a story that's taken a turn I don't like. But life isn't a book you can close when it gets too painful, and some characters refuse to stay in the past where you've carefully placed them."
3 days pass with no sign of Liam. 3 days of jumping every time the bell above the door chimes. 3 days of rehearsing what I might say if he returns. 3 days of telling myself I don't care either way. I'm shelving new arrivals in the poetry section when the bell rings. I don't look up immediately, having trained myself not to react to that sound like a Pavlovian dog. But then a throat clears nearby, and I know without looking that it's him. "The complete works of Pablo Neruda," he says, reading the title of the book in my hand. Still a romantic at heart. I see. I slide the book into its place on the shelf and turn to face him. He's wearing jeans and a gray Henley that stretches across his shoulders in a way that makes it hard not to stare. His dark hair is slightly tousled, like he's been running his hands through it, a habit he always had when he was thinking deeply about something. "It's a bestseller," I say, keeping my voice neutral. "I stock what sells." "Of course," he says, but the small smile playing at the corner of his mouth tells me he doesn't believe me. He always could see through my attempts at indifference. "What are you doing here, Liam?" I ask, deciding direct is better than dancing around the elephant in the room. "Shopping for books," he suggests, but when I give him a look, he sighs. "Okay, I wanted to see you again, to talk. Properly this time, without hurt." He trails off, but I know he means without Michael appearing. "There's nothing to talk about," I say, moving past him to continue shelving. "It's been 9 years. We've both moved on with our lives." He follows me, keeping a respectful distance, but still close enough that I can smell his cologne different from what he used to wear, but somehow still distinctly him. "Have we," he asks quietly, "moved on completely?" I turn to face him, a poetry collection clutched to my chest like armor. "I'm engaged, Liam. I'm getting married in 3 months." "I know," he says, and something in his voice makes my heart twist. "And if you're happy, truly happy, then I'll walk out that door right now and never bother you again." "I am happy," I say automatically, the words I've been telling myself for 2 years. "Are you?" he challenges gently, because the Claire I knew wouldn't settle for fine or good enough. She wanted extraordinary. Anger flares, hot and sudden. The Claire you knew was 22 and naive. She believed in fairy tales and happily ever afters. She thought love conquered all. I take a deep breath. I grew up, Liam. I learned that sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes timing and practicality matter more. I never stopped loving you, he says, the words so quiet I almost think I've imagined them. But the intensity in his eyes tells me I heard correctly. My heart hammers against my ribs. Don't, I whisper. Please don't say that. It's the truth, he insists. And I think you deserve to hear it before you marry someone else. The truth, I repeat, incredulous. The truth is that you chose your career over me, over us. You stayed in London for years, Liam. Years. And now you're back, and expecting, what? That I've just been waiting for you? That I put my life on hold while you built yours? No, he says, running a hand through his hair in frustration. God, no. I know I have no right to expect anything from you. I know I messed up. I know I stayed away too long. He takes a step closer. But Claire, you're the one who ended things. You're the one who told me to go, to live my life without you. You're the one who stopped answering my calls, my emails, because it hurt too much. The words burst out of me, louder than intended. A customer browsing nearby looks up, startled. I lower my voice. It hurt too much to hear about your amazing life in London while I was here, waiting, always waiting, for you to come back, for our real life to begin. I asked you to come with me, he reminds me, multiple times. I was still in school, I counter. I had a year left on my master's program. I couldn't just drop everything and follow you to London. And after, he asks, after you graduated? Why not then? Because by then, it felt too late. Because by then, I'd convinced myself that if he really wanted me there, he would have come back for me. Because by then, I was afraid that if I went to London, I'd lose myself completely in his life, his world. But I don't say any of this. Instead, I say, it doesn't matter now. That was a different life. We were different people. Were we? He challenges. Or are we still those same people underneath it all? Just older, maybe a little wiser. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out to see a text from Michael. Meeting finished early. Thought I'd stop by the store and we could grab an early dinner. Be there in 15. Perfect timing, or terrible timing, depending on how you look at it. I need to get back to work, I tell Liam, putting my phone away. And you need to leave. Claire, he says, his voice soft but insistent. I came back for you. I turned down partnership at the firm, left London, moved back to Chicago for you. The words hit me like a physical blow. For me, after all this time, after I've finally built a life without him, after I've said yes to someone else. That's not fair, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. You can't just come back after 9 years and say things like that. I know, he acknowledges, but I had to try. Oh, I had to know if there was still a chance for us. He takes a step back. Just think about it, okay? Think about whether what you have with Michael is really what you want. Whether it's enough. Michael is a good man, I say defensively. He's stable and kind and do you love him? Liam interrupts. The way you loved me. The question hangs between us. Impossible to answer honestly without revealing too much. Without admitting that what I feel for Michael is comfortable and safe. But nothing like the all-consuming fire I still feel for Liam. It's not a fair comparison, I say finally. We were kids. Liam, what we had it was intense and passionate, but it wasn't sustainable. It burned too hot. And what you have with Michael is sustainable, he asks. Comfortable, safe. He shakes his head. You deserve more than that. Claire, you deserve everything. The bell above the door chimes, and we both turn to see Michael entering the store. He spots us immediately, his expression shifting from a smile to something more guarded as he recognizes Liam. "I should go," Liam says quietly, "but this conversation isn't over." He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a business card, pressing it into my hand. "My number. When you're ready to talk, really talk, call me." He walks toward the door, nodding politely to Michael as they pass each other, and then he's gone, leaving me standing among the poetry books with his card burning a hole in my palm, and my fiancé approaching with questions in his eyes. "Was that the same guy from the other day?" Michael asks, leaning in to kiss my cheek. "Your college friend?" "Yes," I say, slipping Liam's card into my pocket before Michael can see it. "He was just browsing." Michael doesn't look convinced, but he doesn't press the issue. Instead, he tells me about his day, about the case he's working on, about dinner reservations he's made at a new Italian place downtown. Normal things, safe things, the kind of conversation we always have. And all the while, Liam's words echo in my mind. "Do you love him the way you loved me?" The truth is, I don't. I've never loved anyone the way I loved Liam Carter, the way I still love him, if I'm honest with myself. But love isn't always enough. Sometimes timing matters more, and our timing has always been terrible, hasn't it? Two weeks pass. 2 weeks of going through the motions of my life, running the bookstore, attending wedding planning appointments with Michael, having dinner with his parents and mine. 2 weeks of Liam's business card burning a hole in my bedside drawer, where I've hidden it like a shameful secret. I haven't called him, haven't texted, haven't gone looking for him, though I've caught myself scanning faces on the street, hoping and dreading in equal measure that I might see him again. He hasn't come back to the store, hasn't tried to contact me. He's giving me space, I realize, giving me time to think about what he said, about whether what I have with Michael is really what I want, whether it's enough. It's a Tuesday afternoon, typically slow at the bookstore, when my best friend Julia stops by. She owns the coffee shop next door, and we've been friends since college. She knew me before, during, and after Liam. She was the one who held me together when he left, when I sent him away. "You look like hell," she announces cheerfully, setting a latte on the counter in front of me. "Wedding stress or something else?" I take a grateful sip of the coffee. "Something else, I admit." There's no point lying to Julia. She can read me too well. "Spill," she commands, perching on a stool behind the counter. It's quiet enough that I can take a break, so I join her, cradling my coffee like it might protect me from the conversation I'm about to have. "Liam's back," I say simply. Julia's eyes widen. "Liam Carter? The Liam back from London?" I nod. "He came into the store a couple weeks ago, and then again a few days later." "Holy shit," she breathes. "What did he want? Just to catch up? Or?" "He says he came back for me," I say, the words still not feeling real. "That he turned down partnership at his firm, left London, moved back to Chicago for me." Wow. Julia sits back, processing this. "That's intense. What did you say?" "What could I say?" I counter. "I'm engaged. I'm getting married in less than 3 months." "Right," she says, but there's something in her tone that makes me look up sharply. "What?" I ask. "What's that supposed to mean?" Julia sighs, setting down her coffee. "Claire, you're my best friend, and I love you. So I'm going to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Not with me, but with yourself." She pauses. Are you marrying Michael because you love him? Or because he's safe? Because he's the opposite of Liam? The question hits too close to home, too close to the thoughts I've been trying to avoid for the past 2 weeks, for the past 2 years. If I'm being completely honest, I do love him, I say, but the words sound hollow even to my own ears. I know you do, Julia says gently, but is it the kind of love you want to build a life on? The kind that makes you excited to wake up next to him every morning for the next 50 years? I stare down at my coffee, watching the foam slowly dissolve. That kind of all-consuming love doesn't last, I say finally. It burns out. It's not sustainable. Says who? Julia challenges. Your parents. The ones who've been in a loveless marriage for 30 years. Or is that just what you've been telling yourself to justify settling for less than what you really want? I'm not settling, I protest. But the words lack conviction. Claire, Julia says, her voice softer now. I was there after Liam left. I saw what it did to you. And I get why you'd be scared to risk feeling that kind of pain again. But I also remember how alive you were with him. How your whole face would light up when he walked into a room. I've never seen you look at Michael that way. Not once in 2 years. Her words land like a punch to the gut. Because they're true. Because as much as I care for Michael, as comfortable as our relationship is, it's never made me feel the way I felt with Liam, the way I still feel, even after 9 years, when he walks into my bookstore. It doesn't matter, I say, shaking my head. Even if you're right, it's too late. I've made commitments to Michael. We have a life planned together. I can't just throw that away. Because my ex-boyfriend decided to come back after 9 years. Can't you? Julia asks. If you're not truly happy, if you're not marrying Michael for the right reasons, isn't it better to end things now than after the wedding? Isn't it better to be honest with him, even if it hurts? She's right, of course. But the thought of breaking Michael's heart, of dismantling the safe, predictable future we've planned, is terrifying, almost as terrifying as the thought of letting Liam back into my life, of risking that kind of all-consuming love, and potentially that kind of devastating heartbreak again. I need to think, I say finally. I need time to figure out what I really want. Julia nods, understanding. Just don't wait too long, she advises. You've got a wedding in less than 3 months, and more importantly, you've got a life to live. Make sure it's the one you actually want. After she leaves, I go through the rest of the day in a fog, Julia's words echoing in my mind. Am I settling? Am I marrying Michael because I love him? Or because he's safe? Because he's the opposite of Liam? That night, Michael and I have dinner at his apartment. He cooks, as he often does, a simple pasta dish that's one of his few culinary specialties. We eat at his dining table, talking about our days, about wedding details, about the house we're planning to buy in the suburbs after the honeymoon. It's all so normal, so comfortable, so exactly like every other Tuesday night we've spent together for the past 2 years. And suddenly, I can't breathe. Clear, Michael's voice breaks through the panic rising in my chest. Are you okay? You look pale. I'm fine, I say automatically. Just tired. He nods, accepting this without question, without pressing, without really seeing me. And I wonder if he ever has. Later, as we're getting ready for bed, Michael has an early meeting tomorrow, so we're turning in early. I find myself studying him, his methodical routine, the way he folds his clothes before placing them in the hamper, the precise manner in which he brushes his teeth, exactly 2 minutes, timed by his electric toothbrush. He catches me watching him in the bathroom mirror. What? He asks, smiling slightly. Nothing, I say, just thinking. About the wedding, he guesses. I know my mother's being a bit overbearing about the flowers, but we can push back if you really hate her suggestions. It's not about the flowers, I say, and before I can stop myself, I ask, are you happy, Michael, with me, with our life together? He turns, surprise evident on his face. Of course I am, he says without hesitation. Why would you ask that? I struggle to find the words. I want to make sure we're doing this for the right reasons, that we're not just going through the motions because it's what's expected. Michael approaches me, placing his hands on my shoulders. Claire, I love you. I want to marry you. I want the life we've planned together. His eyes search mine. Don't you? Do I? The question I've been avoiding for 2 weeks, for 2 years. Yes, I say, because it's easier than the truth, because I'm not ready to dismantle everything we've built, because I'm still not sure what I really want. He kisses me, satisfied with my answer, but as we lie in bed later, his breathing even in sleep while I stare at the ceiling, I know I've reached a crossroads. I can continue down this safe, predictable path with Michael, or I can take a risk, can reach for something that might be extraordinary, even if it might also end in heartbreak. I slip out of bed quietly, careful not to wake Michael. In the living room, I retrieve my phone from my purse and pull out Liam's business card from my wallet, where I transferred it from my bedside drawer. I stare at the number for a long moment, my thumb hovering over the screen. Then I put the phone down without dialing. It's too late to call anyway, and I'm not ready. Not yet. But for the first time in 2 weeks, in 2 years, I'm honest with myself about what I really want, about who I really want. And it isn't the man sleeping peacefully in the bedroom. It's the man who came back for me after 9 years. The man who still makes my heart race with just a look. The man I never truly got over, no matter how hard I tried. Liam. The next morning, I wake before Michael's alarm and slip out early, leaving a note about needing to open the store for a special delivery. It's not entirely a lie. We do have a shipment coming, but it's not the whole truth either. The truth is I need space, need time to think about what I'm going to do, about how I'm going to unravel the life I've carefully constructed without Liam. At the bookstore, I go through the motions of opening, turning on lights, counting the register, arranging displays. The familiar routine is soothing, gives my hands something to do while my mind races. Around 10, the bell above the door chimes. I look up, half expecting, half hoping. It might be late, but it's Julia, bearing coffee and a concerned expression. You look like you didn't sleep, she observes, sliding a cup across the counter to me. I didn't, I confirm, gratefully accepting the caffeine. Thinking about what I said, I nod. You were right, about everything. She doesn't look triumphant, just sad. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. But I know I can't marry Michael. It wouldn't be fair to him, or to me. And Liam, she asks, are you going to call him? I don't know that either, I say. Part of me wants to, but another part is terrified. What if we try again, and the same thing happens? What if our timing is still wrong? What if he leaves again? What if he doesn't? Julia counters. What if this time it works? What if this is your second chance at the kind of love most people only dream about? Before I can respond, the bell chimes again. This time, it is Liam. He stops just inside the door when he sees me, as if he hadn't expected me to be here, as if he'd somehow forgotten this is my store. He's wearing a suit today, charcoal gray with a blue tie that makes his eyes look even more intense. Professional, polished, a far cry from the casual clothes he wore on his previous visits. "Claire," he says, his voice formal, "I'm sorry to bother you at work. I won't stay long." Julia looks between us, then stands. "I should get back to the coffee shop," she says. "Text me later?" This last part directed at me, with a meaningful look that says we're not done with our conversation. I nod, and she leaves, giving Liam a small smile as she passes him, and then we're alone, the quiet of the bookstore suddenly deafening. "I have a job interview," Liam says, gesturing to his suit, "at Davidson and Associates. They're an architectural firm downtown." "I know them," I say. "They designed the new library on Michigan Avenue." He nods. "They did. They're good. Not as prestigious as the firm in London, but they do interesting work." "It's great," I say, not sure why he's telling me this. "I hope it goes well." "Thank you." He shifts his weight, looking uncharacteristically nervous. "I wanted to stop by before the interview to tell you something, to explain why I came back." Why now, after all this time? My heart picks up speed. "Okay," I say, cautiously. He takes a deep breath. 6 months ago, my father had a heart attack. This is not what I expected him to say. "Liam, I'm so sorry. Is he okay?" "He is now," Liam nods. "It was serious, but he recovered. But it was a wake-up call. For him, obviously, but also for me." He runs a hand through his hair, messing up its careful styling. "He said something to me in the hospital, when we weren't sure if he was going to make it. He said, 'Don't make my mistakes. Don't put work before the people you love.' I've missed too much already." I remained silent, letting him continue. "It got me thinking about my life," Liam says, "about what I'd prioritized, about what I'd sacrificed for my career." His eyes find mine. "About who I'd sacrificed." My throat tightens. I realized I'd been doing exactly what my father warned against. He continues, "Putting work before everything else, before my own happiness, before you." He takes a step closer. "I never stopped loving you, Claire. I tried. God knows I tried. I dated other women. I threw myself into my work. I built a life in London that looked successful on paper, but something was always missing." "Liam," I begin, not sure what I'm going to say. "Please, let me finish," he says. "I need to say this." He takes another deep breath. "After my father recovered, I started making changes, reevaluating what I wanted, what would truly make me happy, and all roads led back to you, to Chicago, to the life we once dreamed of building together." 9 years is a long time, I say softly. "We're different people now." "I know," he acknowledges, "and I know I have no right to come back into your life like this, especially when you're engaged to someone else. But I had to try. I had to see if there was still a chance for us." He pauses. "If there isn't, if you truly love Michael and want to build a life with him, then I'll respect that. I'll walk away and wish you every happiness." The sincerity in his voice, in his eyes, makes my heart ache. This is Liam, my Liam, laying his heart bare, taking a risk, being brave in a way I haven't been. I don't know what to say, I admit. "You don't have to say anything right now," he assures me. "I know this is a lot to process. I know you have a life here, commitments, a fiancé who probably loves you very much." He steps back. "I just needed you to know the truth, to understand why I came back. Why now?" He turns to leave, and panic seizes me. I can't let him walk away. Not again. Not without telling him my own truth. "Liam, wait," I call. He stops, turns back. I struggle to find the words.
I'm going to end things with Michael, I say finally. Not because of you, or not only because of you, but because it's not right. It never has been. I've just been too afraid to admit it. Hope flickers in his eyes, but he's careful not to presume too much. What are you saying, Claire?
I'm saying I need time. I tell him honestly. Time to end my engagement properly. To figure out what I really want. To understand who I am now separate from both you and Michael. I take a deep breath, but I'm also saying that I never stopped loving you either. That even after 9 years, you're still the standard against which I measure everyone else, and they all fall short. A smile breaks across his face, transforming it, making him look like the boy I fell in love with 9 years ago. That's all I needed to hear, he says softly. I'll give you all the time you need, Claire. I've waited 9 years. I can wait a little longer. He doesn't try to kiss me, doesn't push for more than I've offered. Instead, he simply says, I should go. I don't want to be late for my interview. At the door, he pauses. Call me when you're ready. I'll be here. And then he's gone, leaving me with a lightness in my chest that feels like hope, like possibility, like maybe, just maybe, our timing might finally be right. That evening, I ask Michael to meet me at a neutral location, a quiet bar we sometimes go to for happy hour. I know what I have to do, and while it won't be easy, it's necessary for both of us. He's already there when I arrive, nursing a scotch at a corner table. He smiles when he sees me, but it fades quickly when he registers my expression. What's wrong? He asks as I sit across from him. You look serious. I take a deep breath. Michael, we need to talk. His face falls. Those are never good words to hear, he says, attempting a joke but not quite managing it. I'm so sorry, I begin, and I mean it. Sorry for what I'm about to do to him. Sorry for not being honest sooner with him or with myself. But I can't marry you. He stares at me, shock evident in his features. What? Why? Is this about the wedding planning? Because we can scale back. Do something smaller if that's what you want. I shake my head. It's not about the wedding. It's about the fact that I care for you deeply. But I don't love you the way a wife should love her husband, the way you deserve to be loved. Is there someone else? He asks. His voice tight. I consider lying, but he deserves the truth. Not exactly, I say carefully. But seeing Liam again has made me realize that I never fully got over him, that what I feel for him is different from what I feel for you. Liam, he repeats, the old friend from college who came into your store. It's not a question. Yes, I confirm. We were together for 2 years in college. It was serious, and then he moved to London, and we broke up, and I thought I'd moved on, but seeing him again made you realize you hadn't. Michael finishes for me. His jaw tightens. So you're leaving me for him? No, I say firmly. I'm not leaving you for anyone. I'm ending our engagement because it's not right. Because we both deserve better than a marriage built on comfortable affection rather than deep love. I reach across the table, but he pulls his hand away. Even if Liam had never come back, this would still be the right decision. For both of us. Michael is quiet for a long moment, staring into his sky. When he looks up, there's hurt in his eyes, but also a resignation that suggests perhaps he's not entirely surprised. Perhaps on some level, he's known all along that something was missing between us. I always felt like you were holding something back, he says finally, like there was a part of yourself you never quite shared with me. I guess now I know why. I'm so sorry, I say again, tears filling my eyes. I never meant to hurt you. I know, he sighs, and I believe that you think this is the right decision,
but right now it just feels like hell. We talk for another hour about what went wrong, about the good times we had, about practical matters like returning the ring and canceling wedding arrangements. It's painful, but civilized. Michael is hurt, but he's also a pragmatist. Once he accepts that my mind is made up, he focuses on the logistics of untangling our lives. When we finally part outside the bar, he hugs me briefly. "I hope he deserves you," he says, his voice gruff with emotion. "This Liam guy, I hope he makes you happier than I could. You deserve someone who loves you completely," I tell him. "Someone who doesn't have ghosts in her heart." He nods, then walks away, shoulders straight but tension evident in every line of his body. I watch him go, feeling a complex mix of grief and relief. Grief for the pain I've caused him, for the end of what was, in many ways, a good relationship. Relief that I've finally been honest with Michael and with myself, that I've chosen authenticity over safety, truth over comfort. I don't call Liam that night, or the next. I need time to process the end of my engagement, to mourn what might have been with Michael, to be certain that what I feel for Liam isn't just nostalgia or the allure of the road not taken. A week passes. I throw myself into work, into the practical tasks of unwinding a life planned with someone else. I return the ring, cancel the venue, tell my parents, who are disappointed but not surprised. "We always thought Michael was a bit safe for you," my mother admits, shocking me with her candor. And then, on a rainy Friday evening as I'm closing the bookstore, I finally feel ready to see where this second chance with Liam might lead, ready to risk my heart again. I pull out his card, dial his number. He answers on the second ring. "Claire," he says, my name a breath of relief, as if he's been waiting by the phone, as if he feared I might never call. I say, suddenly shy, "Are you free tonight? I think it's time we talked." "I'm free," he says immediately. "Where do you want to meet?" I consider suggesting a restaurant or a bar, somewhere public, neutral. But what I really want is privacy, a place where we can talk openly, honestly, without worrying about being overheard. My place. I suggest. "I can cook dinner. I'll bring wine," he offers. "Red's still your favorite?" The fact that he remembers this small detail about me, that I prefer red wine to white, makes something warm unfurl in my chest. "Yes," I confirm, "red is still my favorite." We arrange a time, and I give him my address. As I hang up, I'm struck by the sense that something important is about to happen, that after 9 years of wrong timing and missed chances, Liam and I might finally get it right.
He nods, understanding in his eyes. "I respect that," he says, "and I'll wait for as long as you need." But I continue, moving slightly closer to him on the couch. That doesn't mean we can't see where this goes, that we can't start getting to know each other again. The people we are now, not just who we were 9 years ago. Smile breaks across his face, transforming it. "I'd like that," he says. "Very much." "Me too," I whisper. We're so close now that I can feel his breath on my face, can see the flecks of gray in his blue eyes, can smell the familiar scent of him, soap and cologne, and something uniquely Liam. My gaze drops to his lips, and I know he notices, because his breath catches. "Claire," he murmurs, my name a question, a request for permission. In answer, I close the distance between us, pressing my lips to his. The kiss is gentle at first, tentative, a reintroduction, but then his hand comes up to cup my face, and mine finds its way to his shoulder, and suddenly we're kissing like we're making up for 9 years of lost time. like we're 22 again, with all the passion and none of the fear. When we finally break apart, breathless, his forehead rests against mine. I've been wanting to do that since the moment I saw you in the bookstore, he confesses. Me too, I admit, even though I tried very hard not to. He laughs too, the sound warming me from the inside out. Then he grows serious again. I meant what I said, Claire. We can take this as slow as you need. This tonight doesn't have to lead to anything you're not ready for. His consideration only makes me want him more, makes me certain that this is right, that we're right, that after 9 years of wrong timing, the Tugur has finally aligned for us. Stay, I whisper, the word both a request and a promise. And he does. Later, much later, we lie tangled together in my bed, my head on his chest, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my bare shoulder. The rain that started earlier has intensified, drumming against the windows, creating a cocoon of sound around us. What are you thinking? He asks, pressing a kiss to the top of my head. That I'm happy, I say, realizing as I say it that it's true, deeply, genuinely happy in a way I haven't been in years, maybe ever, and that I'm a little scared. Of what? His arms tighten around me slightly. Of how right this feels, I admit. Of how easily we've fallen back into each other. Of how much I still love you, even after all this time. I prop myself up on one elbow to look at him. What if we mess it up again? What if our timing is still wrong? He reaches up to tuck a strand of hair behind my ear, his touch impossibly tender. I can't promise we won't face challenges, he says, but I can promise that I won't walk away this time, that I won't put anything, not my career, not distance, nothing ahead of us, of this. He gestures between us. I've learned what matters, Claire, and it's this. It's you. I believe him, not just because I want to, but because I see the truth of it in his eyes, in the man he's become, in the way he came back for me after all this time. I love you, I say, the words feeling both familiar and brand new on my lips. I never stopped. I love you too, he replies, pulling me down for another kiss. Always have, always will. And as the rain continues to fall outside, as we lose ourselves in each other once more, I think about timing, about how sometimes the universe makes you wait for the things that matter most, about how sometimes the longest route is the one that leads you exactly where you're meant to be. 9 years ago, I watched Liam walk away at Terminal B of O'Hare International Airport. I stood there, 22 years old, with tears streaming down my face, convinced that our story was over. But I was wrong. Our story was just beginning. It just needed time, space, growth. It needed us to become the people who could love each other the right way, the forever way. And now, finally, we are. One year later, the bell above the bookstore door chimes, a sound that still makes my heart skip, even after all this time. I look up from the register, a smile already forming on my lips, because I know who it is without having to see him. Liam walks in, his arms full of takeout bags from our favorite Thai restaurant. Dinner has arrived, he announces, setting the bags on the counter and leaning over to kiss me. Sorry I'm late. The meeting with the clients ran long. No worries, I say, returning his kiss. I still have to finish the deposit and lock up. He glances around the empty store. Slow down. Actually, no, I reply, gesturing to the nearly empty shelves in the new release section. We sold out of almost everything that came in yesterday. I need to reorder first thing tomorrow. That's great, he says, genuine pleasure in his voice. He's always as excited about the bookstore's success as I am. One of the many reasons I love him. As I finish counting the day's receipts, Liam wanders the store, straightening books, examining the new display I've set up for an upcoming author event. He's as comfortable here as I am, having spent countless evenings helping me close up, countless weekends assisting with inventory or special events. The bookstore is still mine, but in many ways, it's become ours. A shared passion, just like the loft apartment we moved into 3 months ago, just like the life we're building together. All done, I announce, locking the cash in the safe. Let's head upstairs before the food gets cold. We climb the stairs to what used to be just my apartment but is now our home. It's changed in the past year. Liam's architectural drawings framed on the walls alongside my favorite book quotes, his collection of vinyl records sharing space with my books, his clothes hanging next to mine in the closet. The space has expanded too. We knocked down a wall to incorporate the vacant apartment next door, doubling our square footage and giving us both room to work from home when we want to. As we settle at the dining table with our food, Liam tells me about his day at Davidson & Associates, where he's quickly become one of their star architects, about the new sustainable housing project he's leading, about the junior architect he's mentoring. I tell him about the bookstore, about the new shipment of books that arrived, about the book club meeting we hosted this afternoon where a heated debate broke out over the ending of a popular novel, about the progress I've made on my own book, which is now with a literary agent who's expressed serious interest. It's ordinary conversation, everyday details, the kind of comfortable exchange that happens between two people who share a life. But I never take it for granted, never forget how close we came to missing this, to missing each other. After dinner, we move to the couch, Liam with a draft he needs to review, me with a manuscript from a local author who's asked for my feedback. We work in companionable silence, my feet in his lap, the sound of rain again, always rain with us pattering against the windows. I'm thinking, Liam says after a while, setting aside his work. Dangerous, I tease, not looking up from my reading. He tickles my foot in retaliation, making me squirm and laugh. I'm serious, he says, though he's smiling too. Okay, I'm listening, I say, putting down the manuscript. What have you been thinking about? Us, he says simply. The future, what comes next? My heart does a little flip. And what does come next? I ask. He shifts, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a small velvet box. My breath catches. I had a whole speech planned, he says, suddenly looking nervous, about timing and second chances, and how sometimes the universe knows better than we do, about how losing you made me realize what really matters, about how finding you again felt like coming home. He opens the box, revealing a ring, not a traditional diamond, but a sapphire surrounded by smaller diamonds, unique and perfect. But now all I can think to say is that I love you, Claire, more than I did 9 years ago, which I wouldn't have thought possible, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me? Tears fill my eyes, but they're happy tears. The happy. Yes, I whisper, then louder. Yes, Liam, yes. He slides the ring onto my finger, then pulls me into his arms, kissing me with all the love and promise of our future together. When we break apart, both a little breathless, he rests his forehead against mine. No cold feet this time, he asks, only half joking. No doubts, and not a single one, I assure him. Our timing is finally right, and it is. We are, after 9 years of wrong turns and missed chances, of growing up and growing apart and finding our way back to each other. We've arrived exactly where we're meant to be, together, at last.
They say timing is everything, and sometimes the universe makes you wait for the things that matter most. Sometimes it sends you on a longer journey than you expected, through heartbreak and growth and self-discovery, before bringing you back to where you were always meant to be, to who you were always meant to be with. 9 years ago, I watched the love of my life walk away. Today, I know he'll never leave again, and neither will I, because when you find your way back to the person you're meant to love, you hold on to you. You don't let timing or distance or fear get in the way. You fight for what matters. And Liam and I, we matter. We always have. We always will.
And that's the story of Claire and Liam. A reminder that sometimes the timing has to be wrong before it can finally be right. If this story touched your heart, if you found yourself holding your breath during their reunion, or if you've ever wondered about a love from your past that might deserve a second chance, I'd be so grateful if you'd share this journey with someone who might need to hear it too. Every like on this video helps these words find someone who might be standing at their own crossroads, trying to choose between safety and passion. Every comment connects us in this beautiful tapestry of shared experiences. And when you subscribe, you're not just following a channel, you're reading a community of dreamers, believers, and those brave enough to give love the time it needs to find its way back. Just like Claire discovered, sometimes the universe makes you wait for the things that matter most. Perhaps there's someone in your life worth waiting for too, or perhaps you're exactly where you need to be right now, becoming the person who will be ready when love returns. I'll be back next week with another story that might just change how you see the world, because the most powerful stories aren't just told, they're shared, they're lived, they're remembered. Until next time, remember that timing isn't just about being in the right place at the right time. Sometimes, it's about becoming the right person for when that moment finally arrives. Thank you for listening. Thank you for feeling, and thank you for being part of this journey with me. I'll see you in the next story.